The history of Nauru, from ancient times to today. 1. Ancient settlements and early inhabitants. Before 1000 CE, Nauru is a tiny and isolated island in the western Pacific Ocean, far from major archipelagos. The first people to settle on the island were likely Micronesian and Polynesian navigators who arrived more than 3,000 years ago. Because of Nauru's extreme isolation, its population developed a distinct culture and language, Nauruan, which, while Austronesian, has features that make it quite unique within the region. Early inhabitants relied on fishing, coconut cultivation, pandanus harvesting, and small-scale agriculture. The central freshwater lagoon, Buada Lagoon, became the heart of settlement, community life, and ritual practices. 2. Traditional society and clan system, 1000 to 1700. Over the centuries, Nauru evolved into a structured society based on 12 traditional clans. Each clan controlled specific lands and resources, passing stewardship through matrilineal lines. The social life of the island revolved around cooperation, sharing, and mutual protection among clans. People built canoes from pandanus wood, practiced advanced fishing techniques, and developed complex navigational knowledge without metal tools. Nauru was known for its Ibija dance, intricate tattoo traditions, and a rich oral storytelling culture that preserved history, myths, and genealogies. 3. First Western contacts and the impact of disease, 1700s–1800s. European contact began in the late 18th century when British and American whalers, traders, and beachcombers reached the island. The first recorded European to sight Nauru was the British sea captain John Fern in 1798, who named it Pleasant Island because of the friendliness shown by locals. However, friendly encounters soon turned tragic. Western contact brought alcohol, firearms, and deadly diseases to which Nauruans had no immunity. A series of internal conflicts, fueled by new weapons, broke out among clans during the 1800s, causing significant population decline. At one point, the population fell from around 3,000 to barely 1,500 inhabitants. 4. German colonization, 1888 to 1914. In 1888, Nauru was annexed by the German Empire and became part of German New Guinea. The Germans introduced administrative order and eventually ended the interclan warfare by confiscating weapons and imposing peace. Around this time, an event that would completely reshape the island occurred: the discovery of high-grade phosphate in 1899. Phosphate, formed from thousands of years of bird droppings, turned out to be one of the world's richest deposits. The German-British company Pacific Phosphate Company began mining operations in the early 1900s, marking the start of rapid environmental and social transformation. 5. World War I and Australian administration, 1914 to 1942. During World War I, Australian forces captured Nauru from Germany in 1914. After the war, the League of Nations established a mandate system, placing Nauru under joint administration by Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, with Australia acting as the primary administrator. Phosphate mining intensified under the new administration. Enormous wealth was extracted from the island, but very little went to the Nauruan people. Most profits were taken by the colonial powers, while much of the island's interior was slowly destroyed by strip mining. 6. World War II and Japanese occupation, 1942 to 1945. In 1942, Nauru was invaded and occupied by the Japanese Empire. The island became a fortified military base. Airfields were built, and the island was bombed multiple times by Allied forces. One of the darkest events in Nauruan history occurred in 1943, when the Japanese deported over 1,200 Nauruans to the Chuuk Lagoon, Truk, where many died from starvation and disease. By the end of the war, the population had fallen to just 737 individuals. 7. Post-war era and the path to independence, 1945 to 1968. After World War II, Nauru returned to Australian-led trusteeship under the United Nations. Phosphate mining resumed, but the islanders demanded control over their land and resources. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, Nauruan leaders negotiated for economic and political independence. Their efforts succeeded. On January 31, 1968, Nauru became one of the world's smallest independent republics, led by its first president, Hamidou Robert. 8. The phosphate boom, wealth and transformation, 1970s-1990s. After independence, Nauru took full control of its phosphate industry through the Nauru Phosphate Corporation. For a brief period, Nauru became one of the richest countries in the world per capita. The government invested in foreign real estate, global businesses, and generous social programs. Citizens paid no taxes, received free healthcare and education, and enjoyed some of the highest living standards anywhere. But the economic boom came with serious risks. Government overspending, mismanagement of funds, massive loans, environmental devastation from mining. By the late 1990s, phosphate reserves were nearly exhausted, and Nauru's wealth had been largely lost. 9. Economic collapse and new sources of income, 2000s. As phosphate income disappeared, Nauru fell into severe economic crisis. The government experimented with various revenue sources, becoming a tax haven, later shut down under international pressure, leasing its national airline fishing license agreements with foreign fleets. The most significant and controversial source of income came in the early 2000s when Nauru agreed to host an Australian offshore detention centre for asylum seekers. This became a major employer and income source, although it drew global criticism. 10. Nauru today, 2010s-2020s. Modern Nauru faces a complex set of challenges. A heavily damaged environment. Over 80% of the island's interior remains uninhabitable due to mining, high rates of diabetes, obesity, and other health issues, limited freshwater and arable land dependence on foreign aid, and a small number of revenue sources. Still, the nation works toward rebuilding. Some phosphate secondary deposits are being mined again, and new diplomatic partnerships in the Pacific offer opportunities. Efforts to rehabilitate the mined-out lands continue, though progress is slow and extremely expensive. Despite its struggles, Nauru maintains a strong cultural identity, resilience, and pride in its independence, the smallest republic in the world, surviving against all odds.